We are almost at draft time. I will be live tomorrow and the next day for the NFL draft. You're going to get my full first round mock draft. No trades, but I have a few notes in there because two spots in particular, I think that we're going to see a trade somewhere. But you'll see it as we get here. But before I get going on the mock draft, I want to introduce my very special guest star, Keaton from Keaton Talks Sports. Welcome, Keaton. All right. Keaton, before we get going, man, just tell us a little bit about yourself and about your channel.
Oh, sorry. We'll say one more time.
Just saying, just introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your channel.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So my name is Keaton McNair. For those of you who don't know, I've been doing YouTube for the past, I would say 2.5 years, 3 years. Been doing just mainly NFL, college football type stuff. And like I said, just been doing mock drafts for the past month or so, and I'm just excited that tomorrow is finally here. Get to see what happens on draft night. So that's about it. Too. So yeah, that's pretty much stuff about it.
I'm super jacked up. I will be live here for the draft, so I'm jacked up about that. Slasher, thank you so much for the kind statements here. Man, it's been too long, man. It's been too long. Jeffrey, what is up, brother? Man, I missed you too, man. I missed doing YouTube. I did no mock draft videos. I just released a few. I'll release my final mock draft today. There's 2 exceptions, but I'll get into that when they appear. Normally, when I have a guest that comes on my show, I usually try to provide an outline, some information so I don't blindside them. I don't like doing that to my guests. However, this is the exception. Keaton has no idea of what my final mock draft is going to be. He's going to be completely Keaton's going to be completely surprised by my picks. I'm going to blow him away on some, but we do have a lot of things that we have in common. So, so without any further ado, I'm going to break it up into 8 quarters, I guess you will call it, just picks 1 through 4, 5 through 8, etc. And we'll start off at the top here. For those of you that don't know, Keaton is a New England Patriots fan. So we're going to go with before I get to my picks here, look who I got into chat. The great one, the talent, the B in the Back Talk Brothers show, Gooch. I didn't know you were going to be in the chat, man. I hope to see you tomorrow. Keaton's having some technical difficulties, but while Keaton's getting his stuff straightened out, I'm going to go ahead and just start with the mock draft here. So picks 1, 2, and 3, me and Keaton have exactly correct. And Jeff, you are correct. I do think Travis Hunter is going to go number 2. Gooch, hit me up after the show because I would love to have you on. So let me see if I can get Keaton to come back on here. Keaton, are you there, brother?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. So you went away for a second. We got you back here. So but Keaton, because you are a Patriots fan, I'm going to go from bottom to top here. I am completely blindsiding you.
Mm-hmm.
And I have Ashton Gentry, the running back out of Boise State, going to your Patriots. I want to get your thoughts on that.
I mean, that's not a terrible pick, honestly. Like, there's a lot of Patriots fans that are pretty much split between Will Campbell and Ashton Gentry. Honestly, if you look at Gentry, like, he would come in. He would be that running back number one that could take a lot of pressure off of Ramondre Stevenson, obviously, who's had fumbling issues the past couple of years. Genty can come in there and just can be that spark for the Patriots offense that they desperately need. So I wouldn't be mad if we end up getting him at 4. It's just going to be a matter where the Patriots actually pull the plug and take him at 4. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do, because they can go in multiple different directions with the number 4 pick.
Well, I had Will Campbell, and by the way, Keaton Talks Sports released his final mock on Instagram, and that's who he has is Will Campbell. I wanted to do Will Campbell. The problem is that in last year's draft, Will Campbell would have been the 4th or 5th tackle off the board. And there's Dick Vermeil, a Hall of Fame head coach, has said, you don't take an offensive lineman in the top 5 unless you're convinced he's a Hall of Fame caliber player. I don't think Will Campbell is a Hall of Fame caliber player. I think he's a good player. I think he'll be a solid starter in the NFL for 10 to 12 years. I just have a problem with not taking a blue chip player at 4 when there is a blue chip player available in Ashton Gentry. I think you can get a tackle later in the draft that's capable of being a starter. It won't be as good as Will Campbell, but one thing about the draft is that it's not after the draft is over. It's not like these teams are set in stone on what they're going to do, their roster. No, there's a June 1st free agency period. There's going to be players cut. There's all sorts of things that can go on after the draft. So you're not stuck there if you don't get your tackle there at 4. But I got Ashton Gentry as the 4th pick in the draft here for the Patriots. Jeffrey says, I have the Patriots trading down to acquire either left tackle or receiver. I think the Patriots would love to trade down. I'm not doing any trades in my mock draft, but I think in the first round, we're going to see about 4 trades. I think there's teams. The thing is with this draft, Jeffrey, is that between picks 10 and 40, every NFL team's going to have players all over the board. There's no set in stone players. But if the Patriots get an offer to trade down, I think that they're one of the teams that will. I think 1, 2, and 3 are going to stay. I think the draft at 4 is going to get interesting. So we'll see what happens here. But the Patriots could very well trade down. You are correct. Jeff, I do think Travis Hunter is going to go number 2.
Yeah.
Keaton, let me ask you, is he going to play receiver? Is he going to play corner? Is he going to play both? What do you think?
I think he's going to be looked more as a wide receiver than a corner, in my opinion. Especially like if he goes, and it also depends on where he goes to. I think if Cleveland gets him at 2, I think he's going to be more of a wide receiver because, Cleveland needs offense. We already know how good their defense is. So Travis Hunter come in there and get the offense rolling in the right direction. I think that's a win for the Browns because obviously he brought back Joe Flacco, which I never thought they should have let him go in the first place. I thought they should have just kept him anyway after he took him to the playoffs that year. But, yeah, I think Travis Hunter would be the perfect fit for Cleveland, especially for that offense that they need to get going there.
Yeah, I agree completely. I think he'll play part-time defensive back, but I want to point out people talk about playing receiver and corner like it's never been done before. Champ Bailey did it at Georgia. Charles Woodson did it at Michigan, and neither one of them played. I don't think either one of them played a snap in the NFL on offense, And if I'm in Travis Hunter's ear, I'm telling him, hey, look, don't try to play both ways. Master being a wide receiver, and when that rookie contract's up, you may be able to get 40, 50, maybe even 60 million a year. The way these contracts are going up, just focus on being a wide receiver. But I think the Browns may put them in like some dime package situations. But if I'm in Travis Hunter's ear, I tell him just stick with receiver, forget about playing defensive back. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
The Giants at 3, if they take Abdul Carter, I think Thibodeau could be on the trade block. They didn't sign his 5th-year extension yet. Hasn't really panned out.
the way that they thought he would. So I could see them drafting Abdul Carter. You get Brian Burns on the other side, and I could see Thibodeau moved for maybe a second or third draft day. There could be a chance that right after Abdul Carter is traded or a pick that you could see Kayvon Thibodeau traded. So
Right.
One pride. I had Will Campbell Patriots for the longest time. And he's the definition of plug and play. I can't picture a team saying we're going to take a guy that would be the fourth or fifth best tackle in last year's draft. We're going to take him at number 4 this year. I can't see it happening. So if I'm New England, I just see them taking a blue chip player. There are no trades in this mock draft, but I would not be surprised at all if the Raiders flipped up the 4 and took Gentry. Would not be surprised at all. Lions may trade back. Definitely could. The Lions could trade up. They could trade down. They're a fun team draft day. BD Buster! I'm glad to see you, man. It's been way too long. I really miss doing YouTube. Really, really miss doing YouTube. I can see the Browns, depending on their opponents, we're going to play Travis Hunter. 1 week we'll play receiver. Next week we'll play corner. I think he's going to be a full-time receiver and a part-time defensive back, but you got to realize something. Playing wide receiver in the NFL is light years different than playing wide receiver in college. In college, you only get to run, or you only have to run really 4 or 5 routes. It's completely different in the NFL. One thing Travis Hunter's going to have to get used to, that he never had to do this in college, he's not going to be the best athlete on the field. There's only a handful of players in NFL history that just walk into the NFL and say, I'm the best athlete on the field. I know Eric Dickerson did when he was drafted. He was the number 2 pick overall. Randy Moss. I'm forgetting a few other people that just right from jump were the best athlete on the field. I mean, Charles Woodson, I remember his fun fact. Charles Woodson's first and last game in the NFL was at Arrowhead Stadium. He got burned for a pair of touchdowns his debut game in the NFL. So, Travis Hunter's going to have to deal with not being the best athlete out there. So that's something that's going to be different. Teams are thinking about him going to the Bears. Are you Ashton Gentry? Yeah.
Wouldn't be a bad pick.
Seriously, it would not surprise me, because there's a lot of people on the hot seat in Chicago as far as front office personnel. It wouldn't surprise me if Chicago makes a move to try to get up to 4 or maybe 5 or 6. Chicago's team, I'm not really sure what they're going to do, but we'll see what happens.
Right.
Jordan, man, Giants defense is so bad. Here's the deal. If they do draft Abdul Carter, I would not be surprised if draft day, if that day or maybe the next day they move Kayvon Thibodeau for a pick.
That'd be crazy.
One pride. When I get to the Lions, I'm dying to see what you have to say. Before I move on to picks 5 through 8, Keaton, any thoughts here?
Not much. I mean, I'm pretty much on board. I mean, I think Will Campbell, I think that's a foregone conclusion. I think that he goes to New England at 4, and then obviously your top 3 picks are what it is: Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, and Abdul Carter at 3. I'm hoping Abdul Carter drops because I really want him on my defense. But it's
Abdul Carter with Harold Landry on the other side would just be so much fun.
That would be crazy.
It would be so much fun. By the way, if you don't mind, in the chat, put which picks you agree with more. Put 1 for you agree with my picks over Keaton, and 2 if you agree with my picks way more than Keaton. So put that in the chat there. So Bears should go after Mason Grant. You know what? They drafted Javon Dexter out of Florida a couple of years ago. I'm really high on the kid. Hasn't really panned out yet. But when we get to Chicago, I'm curious to think, because I got kind of a wild card here with the Bears. And kind of a wild card with the Bears. But we're going to move on to picks 5 through 8. 5 through 8 here. I have Mason Graham going to Jacksonville. I have the Raiders picking Armand Membo out of Missouri. The Jets, Tyler Warren out of Penn State. And then Jalen Walker out of Georgia. Now, I want to be very clear. I think the Raiders take Gentry if he's available. All right. Yeah. I think they take him if he's available. I think the Jets would love Membu, but in this mock, he's going to be gone. So they go with their backup plan instead of Will Campbell. That's just my opinion. Jalen Walker's a possibility for the Jets, but I think that they have to go offensive line or tight end, or I know you're really high on I'm going to butcher his name, so I'm just going to call him Ted McMillan. Yeah, and that's definitely a possibility. Definitely a possibility in play, but this is how I feel about it here. I don't think Mason Graham makes it. Yeah, here's the deal with Mason Graham going to Jacksonville. That defense is so terrible. They absolutely need some help on defense. That's my opinion. Keaton has them taking Ashton Gentry, which if he falls past, there'll be some conversation there. But I think defense, Keaton thinks offense. So that is a possibility. If Mason Graham gets past Jacksonville, the Raiders, Jets, and actually, to tell you the truth, the next teams could all be a spot for him. Jordan says, what are the chances of Giants? I'm going to talk about that when I get to Shadir Sanders, because there's 2 spots in the draft where I expect trades. I think the Giants or the Browns could make a move back into round 1. If the Giants – I want to go back here real fast. If the Giants take Abdul Carter, I think that there's a chance that they could take Thibodeau and a draft pick to move back into round 1. So what are the chances Giants trade back in the first? I think there's a very good chance if Abdul Carter's the pick at 3, because you have Kayvon Thibodeau, who he was a lock as a top 10 pick, but he just hadn't panned out. So yeah. Top 3 I like. Yeah, and by the way, you're right, Jordan. Mason Graham is a dog. Tyler Warren is wild, top 10. I think maybe a reach. I think this is going to be a worst-case scenario for the Jets. I think that they would rather have Membu, but they'll settle for Tyler Warren.
They're confusing. I mean, the Jets, I'm hearing – I think they need to go Membu. They need help at right tackle, but, Jets fans, I'm hearing a lot they want Tyler Warren at tight end, which it wouldn't be a bad pick, but it's Justin Fields hasn't really had a good – or been behind a good offensive line in his career. So, it would be nice to have someone on the right side that can at least give him some more time to throw, keep him upright.
Yeah, I think it's a good pick, because here's the deal. You're moving on from a Hall of Fame quarterback to a guy that struggled. You got to give him some help.
Yeah.
That's the reason why I passed on Jalen Walker at 7, even though I could see there being some discussion. I think you got to help out your quarterback if you're the Jets. So whether it's Tyler Warren or one of the tackles in the draft, that's definitely a possibility. I'm not 100% sold on Tyler Warren, if I'm being honest with you, Slasher. He's at his ceiling. He could be the next Gronk. His floor, he could be just a big tight end who doesn't have the ability to get downfield on the NFL level. Because the one thing I kept on seeing from him is that he wasn't really getting a lot of separation. And so I don't know. We're going to find out. But I mean, he's definitely going in the first round. I think the later in the draft he goes, the better odds of him being a productive player in the pros. But here at 7's where I got him. I have an interesting pick for Detroit, so I can't wait. Hopefully you can stick around for when I go to 28. But Keith, before I move on to 9 to 12, I want to get your thoughts here.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I think 6 or what pick? This is 5 through
8.
5 through 8. Yeah, I mean, I think, well, because there's reports coming out. Well, they already came out that I'm hearing that the Jags don't really want Mason Graham now. I'm hearing they want to go with like Genty or something, but who knows what they do. I think Genty goes 5. That's pretty much what I had my mock, and I had Membu going to the Raiders at 6, kind of like I said, as a backup plan, because I think more realistically Raiders go with Genty if he's available to their pick, and then the Jets go with Tyler Warren, and then I agree with the Jelon Walker goes to the Panthers at 8.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because your original draft, you had the same first 8. So, but
Yeah.
yeah. So, but I'm gonna warn you right now. From here on out, we're all over the board, and this is kind of how I think the draft's going to go. Where the first, 7 to 8 picks, I think it's going to go something very close to this, and then afterwards, 9 through 32, I think you're gonna have teams just all over the place. So by the way, Slasher, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. I'm going to be a Tyler Warren fan. I liked watching clips of him. I didn't have a chance to watch too much Penn State this year, unfortunately, but that's just true with college ball. One Pride, you have to wait. There's really a handful. As a Chiefs fan, this is a great draft for the Chiefs because the Chiefs need defensive tackles, a corner, and a running back. And this draft is really deep on all those guys. It's just not a lot of quarterbacks and receivers. So Slasher says, I think Abdul is the one guy can be like Mice. I know, boring and lame comparison. You're 100% correct, Slasher. I think that Abdul Carter is going to be just very, very similar. I think he's going to be dynamic from day one. I think he's going to be really, really, really good. Yeah. So I'm going to move on to 9 through 12 here. Me and Keaton could not be more different here with our picks here. I got 9, Will Campbell going to the Saints, and the Saints. They hit a home run last year in the draft. I'm drawing a blank on Fuega, the tackle out of Oregon State, but the other tackle, they just went public saying they're not going to renew his 5th year. I'm drawing a complete blank on his name, but they've had offensive line issues with the Saints. When you have a new head coach, you normally want to make a big splash in the draft. I think that they go with the local kid. There'll be a lot of people that are going to not like this pick, but this is going to be a steady Eddie pick. I think he plays guard year 1. I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name who's playing right tackle, former first-round pick.
Wait, the Saints?
Yeah, I'm drawing a complete. Who?
Talise Fuega?
No, the other tackle.
Oh, no.
I'm drawing a complete blank on his name. But they didn't. They recently signed. They picked up Olave's 5th-year deal. They didn't pick up the other one. The other tackle's name. His name escapes me. So I think Will Campbell's going to play guard year 1, kick out the right tackle year 2. Trevor Penning. Thank you, Slasher. Yeah. So Trevor Penning. They tried putting that left tackle bust. They moved him over to right tackle. Played decently at right tackle. So. But I think Will Campbell's going to be a long-term solution. I think Penning will play right tackle, Campbell will play guard, and then Campbell will play right tackle in 2026. Mm-hmm. Marion Hampton at 10, that's a Bears move, LOL. Here's the deal with Marion Hampton at 10, and this is why I got him so high. I think Marion Hampton, just coming out of college, you and One Pride and the rest of the Lions fans, just coming out of college is better than Jahmyr Gibbs. All right. The Lions traded up to 12 to get Gibbs. And I have to think to myself, Ben Johnson had a lot to do with that. Okay. Hampton's a better prospect coming out of college than Gibbs was. So taking him at 10, yeah, it's a reach. But DeAndre Swift's not a 20 to 25 touch a game guy. Hampton is.
Yeah.
So you have the 1-2 punch in Detroit. You get the 1-2 punch in Chicago. That's kind of my thought process. Yeah, and I was considering that Ramczyk retired. That's why Campbell's going to play guard. So Will Campbell, if he's available at 9, I think is a great pick. So 11. I'm much higher on James Pierce than Keaton, but here's the deal. He's 6'6". He's about 250. He ran a 4.47 at the combine. The guy is long. He is fast. Gets a lot of sacks in the SEC. He's built for that wide 9 Robert Saleh defense that want to put their those defensive ends 2 to 3 yards outside the tackles. This defense is built for what Pierce can do. I think San Francisco's got 2 picks in the 3rd round. They got 2 picks in the 4th round. I could see San Francisco trading down in rounds 1 and then trading up in 2 and 3 and adding players specifically on defense. And then 12, I have Kelvin Banks going to Dallas. Now, here's the deal with Kelvin Banks. Last year they drafted this second straight time I forgot a name here. In the 1st round, they traded with Detroit. Tackle of Oklahoma.
Can't remember.
Anyway, it'll come to me in a second. But he struggled on the right side, even though he's one of my crushes. There's talk about him moving inside. So here's the drill. One of those guys is going to be a guard. One of those guys is being a tackle. That's why I'm calling him an offensive lineman. Bottom line, he's big. He can move. I think 12's way too high for him. But I just got a feeling Dallas is going to go ahead and go offensive line in this draft. So, yeah, Ben Johnson foaming at the mouth. Yeah, I think he is. 10 is early for Hampton, in my opinion, but
yeah,
I blasted the Lions when they took Jahmyr Gibbs at 12. I thought it was a massive reach. So, and it was successful. It worked out. It worked out. So you get the guy at 10, he's going to be productive. So, Keaton, give me your thoughts here on how awesome my picks are, even though they're completely different than yours.
I mean, like you said, you put Kelvin Banks at 12, and then 11 you had James Pierce Jr.
Yeah.
I can see James Pierce. He's a wild card because he can either go inside the top, like I said, top 11, or he can go late 1st round. Like I'm hearing a bunch of stuff about him, but I'm hearing stuff about his character issue. That's why a lot of people have him kind of slipping down to like the late 1st round, just based off those character issues. But basically, what I had in my 12, I had 9. I had Mikael Williams going to the Saints.
That would be a great pick, by the way.
I think that would be
a great pick for the Saints.
Yeah. And I think Will Campbell isn't a bad pick. I mean, honestly, they can go any one of those guys because, I mean, Saints, they're pretty much in cap hell. They pretty much need to bring in some young talent across the board, especially on defense. They just got to get younger on that side. I think Mikael Williams will come there and really help that defense out tremendously, given what he did at Georgia. And then 10, I had Kelvin Banks going to the Bears at 10. I think he's just overall just a great fit to what they want to do, especially on the offensive line. I mean, you look at Caleb Williams last year. I mean, I think he took a high sack rate of like 68. He got hit like 68 times last year, which is ridiculous. I'm like, you got to keep him protected at all costs. It's not a talent issue in Chicago. I just think, the offensive line didn't really perform up to standard as I thought they would last year. And then you got 11, I had Mason Graham falling to 11. Now, there's some stuff. It's all going to depend on if Jacksonville doesn't take him at 5, because obviously I've been mocking him to the Jags for a while.
Yeah.
Now I'm hearing stuff about the Jags going with Genty if they were to get him at 5. So we'll see what happens there. But I think Mason Graham obviously will be a phenomenal fit for that defense. I mean, Robert Saleh, especially with him there now, I think he's going to pick somebody to go in the trenches that, fits to what the 49ers want to do. So I think he will fit tremendously there. And then Cowboys, I had him going with I had Matthew Gold. I did have Ted McMillan a few mocks ago, but I decided to switch it up. I think Ted McMillan falls a little bit just based off of his comments recently, and then I think Matthew Gold will go tremendously next to CeeDee Lamb, and they need another wide receiver that can take some pressure off of them. I think that just seems like a Jerry Jones type of move. You can also go basically. I mean, they can go tackle as well, but I don't know if Kelvin Banks at 12 there. I mean, they could go there. I think Jerry Jones makes that type of move by going wide receiver.
Yeah, I was mocking wide receiver to Dallas for the longest time, and I like Ted McMillan because CeeDee Lamb is more of a slot receiver than an outside receiver. So yeah. I really like the big receiver, and then you have CeeDee Lamb move inside, and I absolutely love that, and I really wanted to go that way, but I'm using Our Lads, and Our Lads is a great tool, but it's not always perfect. The guy's name was Tyler Guyton. This was one of my draft questions. I couldn't remember his name for the life of me. So here's how the offensive line looks according to Our Lads, and I don't think this is correct. They have Tyler Guyton as the left tackle, Tyler Smith as the guard, Cooper Beebe, 3rd-round pick out of K-State, smart move, starting center. He's going to be there for the next 10 to 12 years, be a great center. Then they got Brock Huffman and Terrence Steele. They signed Robert Jones from Miami, who I think will be one of the guards. And then I think that Tyler Smith, who played left tackle last year, I think he'll be the left tackle. I think the plan is to have Tyler Guyton be the right tackle, but they were worried about him. So there was talk about moving Guyton inside the guard. And if you're going to do that, you may have to draft a tackle. But Dallas is an interesting team. I could see them trading up. I could see them taking down. We'll find out what happens, but I had them taking a wide receiver. If Mason Graham falls to 11, I definitely think San Francisco will go Mason Graham. But in my mock, which, by the way, I'm seeing a lot of people in the chat. By the way, you can comment which draft you like better. 1 for me and 2 for me by a lot. I'm seeing a lot of comments in there about my draft's way better than Keaton's. So, by the way, Slasher, I'm going to comment right now.
Mike Green,
Mike Green would already be off the board if there wasn't any sexual assault issues. I think a lot of teams are going to take him off the board. I think there could be about 12 to 15 teams that are just going to say no, just flat out no. Where he goes in the draft, I want to get your opinion. Where I have him going, I haven't got there yet, but I'll talk about it then. But, yeah, I think there's a lot of NFL teams that are just going to say no dice. We're not even going to mess with it. The 49ers could go quarterback. The only reason I don't have them going quarterback is the moves that they've made have been cost-cutting moves. And I think what they want to do is give Brock Purdy that big contract. That's why they made a lot of cost-cutting moves. It just seems like they're making the moves to give Purdy a massive deal. I just want to go on record. I think it's a mistake. I think he's an above-average quarterback. His ceiling's top 10.
Yeah.
And I'm talking towards the bottom of that top 10. Paying him $50 million a year, you're just going to kill yourself. But the 49ers, I could see them taking a quarterback as well. But I think that if I'm the 49ers, I would take a quarterback. I really would. And I would say, hey, Brock, thank you so much. Get $40 million somewhere else. Or I heard the rumor is they're going to pay him $55 million a year. And I think this deal is going to come soon. And I think the 49ers will be a bad team because of it. But Jeffrey, I completely agree with that. I think something personal happened to one of our owners, family members, or boyfriend. Us has been a long time ago. Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. I'm gonna level with you. Anytime I hear comments like this happen, Keaton, did you hear about the Shannon Sharp incident?
I've heard. Yeah, I did hear about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I instantly think that all that, anytime I hear something like that, I instantly think, oh, it's a money grab. I don't believe it. I don't think it happened. You're a top prospect going. Here's the deal. The deal with Mike Green is it happened at Virginia. Virginia's not a powerhouse. It's not Ohio State. It's not Alabama. So I put a little more weight into that. But I mean, he looked like he was going to be an NFL player. So I'm not really sure, but I think there's a handful of teams that are just going to say no. So.
Yeah.
And by the way, all these situations, different teams are going to have different reactions to them. You remember Devondre Sweat? Most mock drafts had him in the third round. He got DUI 2 days before the draft, and the Titans took him at 36. So you just never know. You just never know how teams are looking. But seriously, I said this on Keaton's show. I think Cam Ward is going to be a mistake. I don't think it's going to work out.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I would not. If I was the 49ers, I would move on. But we'll see what happens. If they do draft a quarterback, it's going to be a lot of fun. Keaton, before I move on to picks 13 through 16, any thoughts here?
Not really. I mean, like I said, James Pierce Jr., the 49ers would also be a good fit. I mean, like I said, I think the 49ers are going to go on the trenches. I think they go on the defensive side of the ball. I just think that's kind of what Robert Saleh wants to do. It's just that's basically what he wants. That's his identity. He wants to, get guys on the defensive side of the ball. I mean, you pretty much saw what he did when he was at the Jets. I mean, top 5 defense, and then they traded him away, get rid of him, and now the Jets were one of the worst defenses to finish off the year last year. So it's like, I could see James Pierce. I don't blame you for picking him at 11. Like I said, I think he either goes high or he can go late first round. You just never know. But I think, Kelvin Banks to the Cowboys is interesting. I don't know if Jerry Jones, just knowing his history, I just don't know if he would go offensive line. I think he would probably give Dak Prescott another weapon. But like I said, Cowboys are a pretty confusing team as well. I just don't know what direction they go. I mean, I think they need to get somebody to go next to CeeDee Lamb, my opinion, just to take some pressure off of them. But yeah, that's pretty much it there.
I go all the way back, and I can't believe I'm going to forget the guy's name because he's going to walk into Canton next year or one of these days. But the Cowboys offensive lineman who just retired. And I'm just the third time I've been on the air for 40 minutes. I've already forgot 3 names. Johnny Manziel was the big name coming out of college, and they drafted this offensive lineman instead, and it was the right move. And I can't remember his name. Out of Notre Dame, 17th pick in the draft, but I'm bad with names. So they've done it before, and it's panned out. They drafted 2 last year, but I agree with you. I could see a wide receiver. With the 49ers, their defense was bad. 3 defensive coordinators in 3 years. So yeah, Robert Saleh needs somebody. I think Mason Graham would be a home run, but I already got him gone. So again, if you put 1 in the chat, if you like my draft better than Keaton's, and 2 if you like it way better. So just make sure that you got that on there. See a lot of 2s in the chat. So a lot of 2s. Seriously, Jeff, I was on a show right before I came on here, and they brought up San Francisco could take a quarterback, and it never occurred to me, but could make sense. Just for the record, Keaton's mock draft is available on Instagram. Do check out his channel. But Keaton has 9, Mikael Williams, edge out of Georgia. Number 10, Kelvin Banks Jr., tackle. He has him going to the Bears. 11, Mason Graham. I don't see him falling that far, but if he does, then, 49ers pick up, and then Keaton has Matthew Golden going to Dallas. We both have them taking Texas guys. Just I have offensive line, Keaton as a wide receiver. Trey, what's up, brother? I'm still recovering from that god-awful Super Bowl that everybody hated. I mean, it was a terrible Super Bowl, even worse halftime show. So everybody hates it. Everybody's ready for the new season to start and get that bad Super Bowl out of everybody's mouth. So nobody likes that. Jeffrey says, I think the Cowboys, they may do that. They may do that. We're going to find out what happens, but we'll find out starting with the draft. I do think Dallas is a team that could trade down. I think we're going to see about 4 trades day 1. I think day 2 and 3, or rounds 2 and 3, I think we'll see a lot of trades. I think we're going to see a lot of trades. It's going to be a very fun second day in the draft. I think we're going to see tons of trades. But I think day 1 we're going to see about 4, maybe more. But we're going to see some trades.
For sure.
49ers aren't looking too good. Yeah, I think the 49ers just I'm not really sure what they're doing, to be honest with you. I really don't know. They let go of a lot of good players. We'll find out. But they have a lot of draft picks.
Well, but you want to know what's funny about the 49ers too? I think what I saw on the favorites to win the NFC West, I think they were the favorites to win next year. I don't know why. But they have a bunch of problems.
Are you serious?
Oh, I think it was Rams. It had the 49ers like 1 and like Rams 2, and then like the Seahawks 3, Cardinals 4. I don't agree with that. But
yeah, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I haven't heard from Corey the Red Sea, aka the Red Sea, but I'm really high on the Cardinals. I think they're going to be a playoff team, and I think the Rams have got to be the favorite. So yeah, but I've been kind of hyping up the Cardinals because I like what they're doing defensively, and why they're not force feeding Marvin Harrison Jr. By the way, where did Marvin Harrison Jr. go to school at? I can't remember.
IT.
Okay.
I'll State.
All right. Is Ohio State wide receiver U now? Is Ohio State considered wide receiver U now?
Pretty much.
By the way, if you're not aware, this is like the 5th name I've already forgot. That wide receiver at Ohio State would go probably top 10 this year.
Oh,
and he's a true freshman. If you're not aware, if you haven't watched, by the way, they also recruited a guy out of New Jersey, a 6'4", 200-pounder who ran track, who's also another 5-star wide receiver. He's probably going to be an NFL player too. Ohio State is just getting every stud receiver. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Insane.
Yeah, there's really not too much of a difference. There really isn't. Vito, I'm a Lions fan, first-time listener. For some reason, I think we make a big move tomorrow, move up in the draft to solidify a Super Bowl run. I don't know how and don't know who, but we'll see.
Good.
Vito. I'm glad you said that because I do think the Lions are a handful of teams that could trade up. They traded up the last 2 years. Please stick around to when I make my Detroit pick because I think you and a lot of other people are going to be very surprised at who I have them taking.
I'm excited to see that. I'm excited.
I'm excited too, man. I had to get a drink here. I got choked up here, but
there's going to be a lot.
No, they haven't paid Purdy yet, but there was talks that he's going to get somewhere like 50 to 55 million. They're going to dump and that's why they're making all these moves, and I think it's going to be a mistake. I think it's going to be a mistake.
A lot of money for, yeah.
He's not that good. He's not okay. So let's go with moves. Picks 13 through 16. I got Miami taking Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan.
Okay.
Me and Keaton both have Colston Loveland going to the Colts. I think if Tyler Warren's available,
Yeah.
that could be the pick, but in my draft, he's already gone. I got Mikael Williams, defensive end out of Georgia. According to Keaton, he's already off the board. Keaton has Walter Nolan, also a really good pick, and that's someone you could consider. For 16, Keaton has James Pierce Jr. I have Jadee Barron, corner safety combo out of Texas.
Actually, I mean, they need help in the back. I mean, they need help on defense.
I think the Cardinals. Here's the deal. I had Tyler Booker as my pick to the Cardinals, and Corey the Red Sea sent me about 10 messages telling me what a dumbass I was. He hated it so much. And I started kind of looking at the team because they attacked free agency. They got about 4 new starters. They brought back Hassan Reddick. They got us I think it was Bynum from Minnesota. They also drafted Max Melton last year, one of my draft crushes. But I look at Barron and I just think that this dude should be gone by now. I really like this kid, and I think Arizona's just going to pick him up. The Falcons, you have defensive tackle. I have an end. I actually really like Walter Nolan there at 15. I really, really like that a lot. That could definitely be the pick. And then we both agree with Colson Loveland. With Miami, Keaton has Will Johnson, the corner out of Michigan. That a corner is in play. But I really think that they want an offensive tackle, Miami. I think they want an offensive lineman. If Banks is available, which I think he's not, that will probably be the pick.
Yeah.
I toyed around with Josh Simmons, but I can't do it. Anthony Weaver, the Dolphins defensive coordinator, came from Baltimore last year, a former defensive line coach. They had a problem stopping the run last year. Kenneth Grant is not the best defensive tackle available, but I think he has the most upside. Guys that big, that move that well. Miami's a team I think that's just kind of just falling apart, to be perfectly honest with you.
So it's funny about them is like, what did you say earlier? I mean, Miami. I don't know what they. I mean, like I said, that's their team that's in flux. I think until they get rid of Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel, I just don't think Mike McDaniel's as good as people think he is, in my opinion. But we'll see what they do at 13, or if they trade.
I think that they really want to tackle. I could see Miami trying to make a move to trade up to get a tackle. But I mean, heaven forbid this happens, but if Tua gets another concussion, who knows where this team's going to be? I mean, and I talked about it last year in some great extent. If I was Tua or somebody who is in Tua's inner circle, I would look, just take your $100 million, retire, go to TV, go to coaching, do something else. One Pride 40, yes. The quarterbacks are falling, and I'll get to that here in a bit. But yeah, my quarterbacks are falling off the board. Both. If you think Jackson Dart's first round quarterback, he's falling. Of course, Shadir Sanders. I have not said his name yet. You did not miss that. And the only one I have off the board is number 1, Cam Ward. So. Yeah, I think the Eagles are an interesting team. I could actually see them trading out of round 1 completely if they get one. I don't think the Eagles are interested in trading up, but I could see Kansas City making a move as well. And by the way, I think that there could, believe it or not, I could see a team trading with the Eagles. It just depends how everything falls. Before I move on, Keaton, anything that stands out about picks 13 through 16?
Not really. I mean, like I said, I think you said you had Kenneth Grant going to Miami. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, that's a solid pick. I mean, like I said, they lost a lot of people on that side. They can go honestly, defensive line, they can go cornerback. I mean, like I said, Miami needs help in a lot of areas. I mean, they can go tackle as well. I think if Will Campbell were to somehow fall there, I would definitely take him in a heartbeat. I mean, you got to protect Tua based off of his concussion history. So, I mean, that wouldn't be a bad pick as well. Colson Loveland, I think that's a foregone conclusion. I mean, Colson need tight end help. If what's his name, Tyler Warren's available at 14, you absolutely take him. And then 15, you had Mikael Williams, phenomenal. I mean, I think all those guys are phenomenal fits for Detroit and for Atlanta. Like I said last year, the Falcons should have gone with a freaking defensive end last year and decided to go with a quarterback last year.
Made absolutely no sense. Did the draft live last year. Both of us had no answer.
Terrible.
We were like, oh, it's Dallas Turner here at 8. And we were like, what? And both of us really, really liked ninth name freeze. I forget, and Michael Penix.
Michael Penix, yeah.
Yeah, we both liked the kid a lot. We just didn't think 8 was going to be a spot.
8, yeah, exactly. That was crazy. Like I said, we'll be surprised if we see something crazy happen in draft night. You never know.
Look, I'm telling you right now, there's going to be about 4 trades in this draft, or in round 1. I'm telling you this right now. There's going to be about 4. By the way, Anthony here is joining me. I was on his show, Roar of the Lions. If you get a chance, hit the subscribe button. Just fantastic show, fantastic dude. He had me on a few hours ago. And you're right. I didn't know the news about Kirby Joseph until now. So thanks for letting me know. And Brad Holmes, by the way, A+ job. Also give credit to another name I am forgetting. I'm just going senile or something. It's working all these nights. But the former Chiefs general manager, who's I think he's like the director of college scouting or something like that. He doesn't have the assistant GM name, and I can't believe I forgot his name. I cannot believe I forgot his name. But anyway, he's part of the Detroit staff. He was the general manager in Kansas City who helped build that Super Bowl team. But they're the front office of Detroit. Anthony, I already told Anthony, John Dorsey, thank you. John Dorsey is really helping out. I revealed to Anthony who I have as the Lions pick, so don't ruin it. But a lot of you are going to be surprised at who I have going to Detroit. I'm just going to let you know right now. Absolutely. I'm going to bring that up I'm going to bring that up here in a little bit.
That's insane. If you actually follow that.
Jalen Monroe, yeah, that's definitely. So I'm going to move on to 17 through 20 here. But a lot of the questions are going to be answered here when I get to later in the draft here. But 17 through 20, Tyler Booker to Cincinnati. Look, you gave Burrow a lot of money. You gave your 2 wide receivers a combined almost $250 million. You got to protect Burrow. Definition of plug and play. Will Johnson to Seattle, to me, makes a lot of sense. You need help in the secondary. He was your coach there in Michigan, so it kind of makes sense here. Jihad Campbell, I'm going to call him an outside linebacker. I'm not really sure. And I'm sorry, I messed up. I messed up on 19. So 19 should say Tampa Bay. I just put the name there. Sorry.
Yeah, you good. I agree with that. Adam going there.
All right, so I messed that up. I caught a spelling error earlier, but anyway, I messed up. Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Jihad Campbell. I'm calling him an outside linebacker, but it wouldn't surprise me if he plays inside, outside. He does a little bit of everything, but I think he'll play. For those who don't know, he was brought in to be a defensive end, and they just had a surplus of defensive ends at Alabama. So they moved him to inside linebacker, had like 115 tackles, 5 sacks, a couple of picks. And people kept on saying, well, he doesn't have the instincts to play linebacker. Well, no shit. He played defensive end for all these years. That's what he was brought into Alabama to do. So, yeah, he doesn't have great instincts at a position he never played before. So, yeah, I don't have that problem for calling him an inside, outside linebacker. I think he's just going to play. I think he'll be used as an edge rush. and then maybe switch to inside linebacker for the ninth name. Forget I've already had. I keep forgetting names here today, but I'm going to look this one up. Okay. Levante David is going to be okay, so let me see here. Do my math here. Guy, he's 35, so he's going to be 36 in January. There is a chance Campbell replaces him. But I'm going to call him an outside linebacker for now, but I think he could be an edge. So,
yeah.
Jalen Monroe goes to the Rams in the first round. That is interesting. And it's possible. Very possible. Denver. Trey, I disagree with that. They drafted Austin Estamine last year in the 5th round. The only reason he fell to the 5th round is because he ran a 4.72 at the combine. Didn't play like a 4.72 guy. He got hurt early, but towards the last 5-6 games of the season, he was starting and he was doing a bang-up job. This is a deep running back draft, so you don't need to draft one at 20. I got them taking Matthew Golden, the wide receiver out of Texas. The 4.29. It's kind of funny because last year they drafted Troy Smith or they drafted Nix's wide receiver out of Oregon, and he ran a 4.49, but he played like a 4.2 guy. Yeah. Well, Golden plays like a 4.49 guy, but he ran a 4.29. But I just they added some pieces in free agency on defense. Cortland Sutton, I don't think is going to be there long term. He could be, because I thought Patrick Surtain was going to go. So after Hampton's gone, I really don't think that they were going to draft a running back at 20, but I think it's definitely in play.
Definitely.
Keaton does have Hampton. By the way, if Hampton's available at 20, there might be that conversation, but I really like Austin Estamine. By the way, for you fantasy football guys, pick him up earlier than later. He's going to have a monster year. So just to reiterate, Tyler Booker, Will Johnson, Jihad Campbell, and Matthew Golden. Keaton, what are your thoughts here?
Tyler Booker at 17 of the Bengals. That's definitely interesting. Like I said, protect Burrow. That's pretty much what I see this pick. I'm looking at, okay, you got to protect Burrow. But I don't think the Bengals offense is the real issue. Like I said, I'm looking at last year because they were able to put up 30 points in their sleep. Like, their offense was one of the best in football last year. I think their problem was the back end of the defense. They couldn't get stops when they needed to. It don't matter. Burrow can throw for 500 yards, and they would still lose the game because their defense just couldn't get that stop. So I like Shamar Stewart here to the Bengals at 17. I just think that's my opinion, that defense is going to be absolutely disgusting with him based off of what he did at Texas A&M. I think he definitely helps and gets, people are concerned about he didn't really have that good last year at Texas A&M, but like if you look at his tape, he's in the backfield consistently. He gets to the quarterback. So it's like I think the Bengals need to go that route and go either an edge rusher or they can go corner. Maybe Jahdae Barron or Malachi Starks would also be a good fit there as well. Seahawks I had going with who did I have Seahawks going with?
I got your picks pulled up here. I'll read off your picks here. You got Shamir Stewart. I like that pick quite a bit. I just think your number one priority is got to protect Burrow, but getting an edge rusher makes a lot of sense. Last year they drafted Miles Murphy, and I'm telling you right now, this guy's going to be a stud. So I kind of think. Also, keep in mind, we have no idea if they're going to re-sign Trey Hendrickson or not.
I don't think they are.
That's a big question.
I don't know.
Number 18, Keaton has Tet McMillan. I'm going to not even try to pronounce his name. Makes a lot of sense. But I'm like, you know what? They got Jackson Smith and Jigba. He played at some Midwest school. I don't remember where he went to school at. And then they also signed Cooper Kupp to a decent deal. Mm-hmm. They need some help on the back end more than they need a receiver, but I wouldn't be surprised. Keaton had a mock draft earlier where Emeka Igba, I'm going to butcher his name. The other Ohio State wide receiver goes there. And me and Keaton both have Todd Campbell at 19, and we both have, or I have Matthew Golden, he has Amari in Hampton. Now, keep in mind, if Hampton's available, that's different, but I have him going sooner.
I mean, like I said, I've been saying this for a while. Like, either one of those guys, Matthew Golden or even Colston Loveland, if he ends up falling to 20, I think you have to get another weapon for Bo Nix. I mean, look at that playoff game last year. I mean, Colton Sutton, I believe that's his name, the wide receiver. I mean, he's good, but, like, you got to put someone next to him. Just like what I said about Dallas, you got to put someone next to CeeDee Lamb to take some pressure off of him. So either one of those guys would be a tremendous fit for Denver on offense.
I agree. I agree completely. Andre, man, oh, God, I'm seeing some names here. God, I wish I could do YouTube more. It's just a work thing. I took off from both jobs all this week just so I can do NFL draft stuff. So it's really, really, really good to see you, man. Really, 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 really good to see you. Yeah, Jeffrey, you and Keaton are on the same page. I think Hampton's gone, but if he's not, it'll be in consideration. But I'm telling you right now, they really like Austin Estamine. They really like this kid a lot. I think take him in fantasy football sooner and later. He's going to be the bell cow back in Denver, and I think he's going to be really good. That said, if Hampton's available there, it'll be some consideration. Do I like the Kirby Joseph re-sign? I do. I really do. I didn't know he signed. I'm anxious to look at the contract. I will say this. I worry about some of the contracts that are coming up. I think in 2026, Goff's going to be due like $69 million, and it's something. They got some weird cap issues, not this year, but next year. So, but I do like it. I just hope that they work some things out with the contracts, especially that Goff. See, it's something crazy. It's like almost $70 million.
That's crazy.
Wow, it's $21.5 million a year. It's a lot. I didn't know about it till now. So wow, that's a lot of money. But I like the player. I like the player a lot. I continue to add on offense. Yeah, I agree completely. Help out your young quarterback.
Yeah.
Jahad Campbell, if he falls all the way to 32, so let's say so Seattle is a team that has a lot of draft capital. They could trade up. Tampa Bay is one of those teams I think could trade down. I could see a Philly-Tampa trade. I could see that.
19 to 32. That's
a lot.
That's a lot. Yeah, I must say
it's a lot. And the only reason I say that is because I could see Tampa Bay getting a lot of draft picks, but I have a hard time seeing something like that happen. But yeah, Campbell. If there's a trade, it would benefit Tampa Bay because they could use multiple players on the edge. So
yeah.
But yeah, Kenneth Grant, Derek Harmon, yeah. Both of those players would be really, really, really nice. That's a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
The biggest winners in free agency was the Browns. I'll be honest with you, Jeffrey. I did not think that was going to happen.
I thought he was going to be gone somewhere else. Like that's
I said, yeah, I thought he was too. I said this when Keaton went live. The Browns are a team that I'm telling people right now, I think are going to surprise everybody and make the playoffs next year. I think whether it's Flacco or Kenny Pickett as the quarterback, I think that they'll be better. The defense is going to be really, really, really good. This is a team that only has to score 24 points a game. They changed their offense last year to accommodate Deshaun Watson. They had their tackles they were like using third string tackles for like the first 2/3 of the season. Offensive line is going to be healthy. They're going to go with a run-first offense. They're going to have one of the best defenses in football. I think Cleveland's going to surprise people and be a playoff team, barring injury.
True.
Before I move on to 21 through 24, Keaton, any thoughts here on my phenomenal mock draft?
I mean, like I said, I think those picks you had, Will Johnson to Seattle would be, like I said, that's a phenomenal fit. I actually had him going to Seattle a couple months ago.
You had it.
Yeah, I did. I think, like I said, they can go multiple different directions. Then you can go offensive tackle as well, because I know Seattle's offensive line wasn't the best last year, but you can go with Tyler Booker. Actually, would be a nice fit there, well, on the offensive side if Seattle were to go that route. So, but Will Johnson there is a solid fit, physical corner. I think he fits to what Seattle wants to do on defense, and that's to obviously solidify the defense side of the ball. John Campbell, I pretty much agree with. And then Matthew Golden to the Broncos. Like I said, you got to just continue to add to the offense for Bo Nix. Bo Nix had a phenomenal year. He actually surprised me. I didn't think he was going to have that type of year in his rookie season, but he did. I think he's going to continue to get better in the second year if they continue to develop him the right way and surround him with talent.
No, I agree. I agree completely. Denver's a team as a Chiefs fan. I'm kind of scared of getting a guy like Matthew Golden, if he pans out, could be really dangerous. Jeff, you said Greg Newsome could be traded. I actually think it's the other one. I think it's Denzel Ward. He has a bigger contract, and he missed some games last year. Denzel Ward, he went to some school in the Midwest. Nobody knows where. Probably wasn't that good of a school anyway, but Denzel Ward, talented dude. I think it's more likely Ward gets moved rather than Newsome, but one of those guys could be moved draft day. Same thing, like I said, with the Giants with Kayvon Thibodeau. You could make a move like Newsome and then trade back in to round one to get a quarterback. These things could happen, but we'll find out. We'll find out. I'm going to move on. Here's where my draft gets a little creative here, 21 through 24. Okay. I want to be very clear. I think Milroe will go to the Steelers. I just don't think it's 21. I don't think it's 21, but I think the Steelers love this kid. And I think that there's going to be a move at 21. I think that they will jump down. But I think they love Jalen Milroe. I don't think he's going to be gone in the first 20 picks, but I think that Pittsburgh here gets a little creative and makes a move. Teams that could trade up, Kansas City, Buffalo, Detroit, Cleveland. I could even see Seattle doing something crazy, going 18 and 21. The New York Giants could trade up. Maybe they want Shadir Sanders. There's a lot of different things that could happen here, but I like Milroe going to Pittsburgh. I just do not think it's going to be 21. Shamir Stewart, he's going to take over for Joey Bosa. I think this is a great situation for Shamir Stewart. Athletically gifted, not a lot of productivity. He learns behind Leo Mack, and he'll contribute. He'll contribute. Green Bay, I really struggled with Green Bay because everybody says corner, but if you keep Alexander there, I could see Green Bay getting a corner in round two. I could also Jalen Ramsey, who wants to trade from Miami. I could see Green Bay as a possible landing spot for a guy like that. Maybe. I really wanted to do corner, but I'm going to go offensive line. Gray Sable of North Dakota State. I think it's a little high for Gray Sable, but he can play multiple positions. Green Bay loves drafting white people. I don't know why, but they do. He's the white guy in the draft, so it kind of makes sense. Nick Amarori, I'm not sure he switches the linebacker because of his size, but this is a perfect spot for him in Minnesota. Minnesota is another team that they only have 4 draft picks. I could easily see Minnesota trading out of round one. Like I said, Day one of the draft, I think we're going to see 4 trades somewhere in round 1. Pittsburgh at 21, I think is going to be one of them. I also think Minnesota at 24 could easily be another. Keaton, what are your thoughts on 21 through 24 in my crazy mock draft?
21 definitely. That surprised me a lot. Jalen Milroe, if I'm saying his name right. I mean, listen, he's a good quarterback. I think he's athletically gifted. So let me ask you this, if I mind. Like, what made you choose Milroe over Shadir Sanders at 21?
Okay, this is a great question. That's a great question. That's a phenomenal question. I personally think, I know that when Milroe met with the Steelers, they were public and they discussed all over him. Shadir Sanders met with Pittsburgh and you heard nothing. Pittsburgh's an unusual franchise that they are transparent about players that they like. And I think that they like Milroe. I think they like the upside. Arthur Smith had more success with running quarterbacks than non-running quarterbacks. I don't think Shadir Sanders really fits with what they want to do offensively.
Mm-hmm.
I do think Aaron Rodgers will play in Pittsburgh, and I think that Milroe will sit for a couple years. I think if you tell Sanders that he's going to sit for 2 years, I just think it's going to be an issue. I don't think the Steelers really want to deal with it. So that's kind of my thought process. I want to be very clear. I think the Steelers are going to pick Milroe in this draft. I don't think it's going to be 21. I think that they're going to make a move somehow, some way. So
do you think this move? So would you say this move potentially Milroe sits a year? Do you think Aaron Rodgers is a possibility to Pittsburgh?
I think Rodgers will end up in Pittsburgh. I really do. I think Rodgers will be in Pittsburgh. And then I think that what they want to do is draft Milroe either in round 2 or later in the first round.
Okay.
So that's kind of my thought process. And I wouldn't be surprised if Milroe is doing like the tush push, if that's not outlawed, or a 2-point conversion play, or if he's playing running back while Rodgers is quarterback in some weird goofy play. But I think the Steelers like Milroe. Here's the deal. Of all the quarterbacks in the draft, which one has the highest ceiling? And it's Jalen Milroe, and that includes Cam Ward. I think Milroe has the highest ceiling. He also has the lowest floor. Putting him in a situation where you can have him sit for a year, maybe 2, under a future Hall of Famer like Rodgers is perfect. That's kind of what I see. Yeah, so I mean, Shadir's not gone in this mock yet, and this is my first major curveball at 21. I got another big one coming up here soon, but yeah. I like Ibuka to the Chargers and Green Bay. They could surprise a lot of people and go Jackson Dark, and in a few years they could replace Jordan Love.
That's a bold. Okay.
That would be very interesting, but I don't think they will. I think they're going to go all in on Jordan Love and try to protect him. Ibuka makes a lot of sense, by the way, at 22, 20, and 23. But I just think with the Chargers, they've been building their team inside out, and you lose Bosa, you get a guy to replace him who's raw as hell, but very physically gifted. And then with the Packers, the Packers, I just really struggled with that, but you had some problems with your offensive line. They like white people. There you go. And then, Amiari is just kind of.
Yeah, he fits what the Vikings. I think he fits.
Yeah, he really fits. And Harrison Smith is 94 years old. He signed a 1-year deal. He's probably going to retire. So here's your replacement. So Keaton has at 21, he has Shadir Sanders over Jalen Milroe, which I originally mocked. I decided to switch gears, but I want to put – I don't know that he's going to go to 21, but I do think he's going to go to Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
A Michigan player, Kenneth Grant, if he is available at 22, I 100% agree with Keaton there. Jahai Barron at 23 to Green Bay is what Keaton has. I don't think he goes that far, but if he's available at 23, I absolutely could see the Packers doing that.
He could go earlier too. I think he can go.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think Barron goes way earlier, in my opinion. And then Derek Harmon to Minnesota at 24 makes a lot of sense. I would not hate that at all. I would not hate that at all.
That's solid.
Yeah.
No real pick. It definitely surprised me. But I mean, I wouldn't, like I said, Pittsburgh needs a quarterback. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and dispute that. But yeah.
Oh man, look at this! This is my boy, Denver Gator.
Yep, what up?
Denver Gator, what's up, football nerds? God, I love Denver Gator, man. I haven't talked to him. Denver, I'm sorry, I've been. Dude, I'm gonna tell you something. Doing 2 jobs and working nights just kind of sucks the life out of you. Hopefully, you get it, man. But Denver Gator, if you and your dad are watching on TV, say hi. But if you're not, do tell your dad I said hi. Denver Gators' dad, that's awesome, dude. So,
see a Broncos fan too.
Yeah, Jalen Milroe's highest ceiling in the draft, but the lowest floor. Pay attention to him. Here's another thing. Just coming out of Alabama only, Milroe looks better than
Sanders.
No, Jalen Hurts. I can't believe I almost forgot his name. That guy. I'm still pissed that that's terrible Super Bowl. So anyway, at Alabama, he wasn't ready to be an NFL quarterback. I thought he looked more like a running back. Goes to Oklahoma, great season at Oklahoma, looks phenomenal, and then he ends up being a Super Bowl MVP. Milroe has more upside than that. He really does. I cannot emphasize this enough. I just don't think he's going 21. So,
see.
Yeah. God, Denver Gator. I haven't seen Denver Gator in a long time, and he's going to sit here and throw that in my face. I know. I'm sorry, Denver.
I'm just saying. Who knows if the Brown. I don't know. If they pick him at 2, that'd be crazy. Could you imagine?
It could happen. We don't know. Neither me or you think it's going to happen. Okay. Don't like stored at all. Pajama pant warrior. I can see that too. Look, if you're in school for 3 years and you have that type of physique and you only get 4.5 sacks, something's wrong. But I can see Harbaugh working with that. So that's kind of my thought process there. If you pay attention, Green Bay gets ahead of that quarterback situation. It could happen. Jeffrey, you got a really good point. And the way this mock draft is going, Sanders or maybe Jackson Dart is available. So you never know. Yeah, Nolan Smith. Yeah, he's a monster. He's a monster. He's going to be doing some great things in Philly for the next couple of years. Yeah, I agree completely. Even though that Super Bowl was awful and everybody hated it. So, Cam Ward and Jalen Milroe has the same completion percentage, but Cam Ward's going number 1. I'm going to go on record. It's not going to work out for Cam Ward in Tennessee. He may go to another school or another team, but it's not going to work out there in Tennessee. That's just a disaster.
I think they should have kept Mike Vrabel, in my opinion. I've been saying that for a minute.
They should have.
But yeah, we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I'm not. It's a gator with like some dynamite on the top or something like that. It's pretty sweet, but it's hard to see.
Nice.
All right. Any final thoughts before I move on to 25 through 28?
Not really. I mean, Shamar Stewart to the Chargers, I think that's a great fit. I mean, I think the Chargers go with defensive end anyway. Matthew Golden obviously wouldn't be a bad fit there as well. I mean, you look at the wide receiver group. I mean, I'm trying to remember his name. They got last year from
Quentin Johnston. Or no, Ladd McConkey.
Ladd McConkey. It wouldn't be bad to put like someone like a Matthew Golden who can like extend the field next to him or something like that. Just give Herbert another weapon. But I think Shamar Stewart is a great fit. I think he would definitely pick that Jim Harbaugh would make. If Kenneth Grant would also be a great fit there as well. I mean, Jim Harbaugh loves his Michigan guys, so I can see him going with someone like that, but we'll see. But everything else, great Zabe. Like I said, Packers are pretty confusing as well because, I mean, like I said, their offensive line is a little shaky. They can go cornerback as well. It'll be interesting to see what they do. I mean, I had Walter Nolan going here in my past couple mocks. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad fit. I mean, we'll see. Nick Emanwari, just a great team fit, in my opinion. I think he just big physical safety who can come there and step in right away.
Yeah, in One Pride 40, Walter Nolan's a guy I almost put at 23 and 22. I just went in a different direction. The reason why I went with Stewart is because I think the athletic physical gifts with Khalil Mack, kind of mentoring him, kind of put it over the top. It's one of those it's kind of different than what the Chargers have been doing, but I think it's a high ceiling, a low floor, but you can roll the dice here at 22. But I almost went Walter Nolan, and you're right, he is a beast. Maybe he goes to Kansas City. Denver Gator says, I think the Titans should back up the Brinks truck for my MVP Levis. And by the way, Denver Gator, because he likes Will Levis so much, started putting mayonnaise in his coffee, which is absolutely disgusting. So Will Levis, it wouldn't surprise me if Levis has moved in the near future. Wouldn't surprise me either. By the way, Luther Burton is another guy I thought could go 23 or 22. I just went in a different direction. But, yeah, Luther Burton's a guy. Yeah. Oh, this is really sad. Steve McMichael, damn. I knew he was battling cancer, so that's a damn shame. Really, really good player. Really, really good player. That's a shame. Yeah, I thought about putting a defensive tackle there, but again, I think that they love this kid. I just don't think they're going to take him at 21. All right. I'm going to throw you some curveballs here, 25 through 28. So get ready. This is going to be a little crazy. 25, Josh Simmons, if he didn't get injured, he would go top 10 easily. Houston takes a chance on him, and the medicals have got to clear.
Ooh, Rams.
The Los Angeles Rams take Shadir Sanders. Now, I'm going to be very clear. I'm not sold on the Rams taking a quarterback. Yeah. But if they do, I like the idea of Sanders going to the Rams more than I like Jackson Dart. And people are going to say, Dan, Jackson Dart's a lot more like Matthew Stafford. If they wanted a quarterback like Shadir Sanders, they wouldn't have gotten rid of Goff. Again, I don't see Shadir Sanders falling out of round one.
No, he's not.
I think that here we're going to see a trade, or we're going to see the Rams pick him and make a trade maybe the next day. I just think that Shadir Sanders is not getting out of round one. I think the Rams could take him here at 26, and I think they could make a move. I also think you could sit him behind Matthew Stafford for a year or two.
Wouldn't be a bad idea.
It wouldn't be a bad idea. I just think that this is a trading spot here for the Rams. All right. Yeah, Emanwari.
It could be a good trade spot for the let's say if Giants go with do Carr at 3. That could be a trail spot for the Giants potentially.
I think Giants, Browns,
yeah.
Maybe the 49ers, if they're interested. I have a hard time seeing Rams and Niners making a trade. Maybe the Saints want to make a move here.
Yeah.
I mean, the Saints could easily make a move here, but I just can't see them falling out of round 1. I just can't see it. Denver Gator says one last jab. I thought the Broncos were picking top 5. I did not say that, Denver Gator. And Knicks was overrated with no long ball. I was high on Bo Nix, but I love Denver Gator. So, I know I'm throwing you a curveball. And one pride, Mike Green falls all the way to 28. And I'll tell you why.
That's not crazy though.
Yeah, I think that he's a top 10 player, but I think the assault will go a long way. I think the Lions are going to say, hey, we get this guy. This could make us a Super Bowl team.
Yeah.
He's just too good to pass up at 28 if you're Detroit.
Just look at that playoff game. I mean, they couldn't – offense wasn't the issue. They just couldn't get to Jaden Daniels, letting them throw the ball on his defense. Okay, I mean, that wouldn't be a bad fit.
No, I don't think it'd be a bad fit at all. I just think that if Mike Green just free falls, I could see Detroit just saying, hey, look, let's make a move. And by the way, I would not be at all surprised if Detroit went up to 26 and drafted Green, and then Sanders, obviously Baltimore wouldn't take him. I could see the Rams just taking Shadir Sanders at 28. I just think that's kind of my trade spot. I just don't think I'm not sure Shadir Sanders is going to be drafted by the Rams, but I don't think he goes to day 2. So I really struggle with that. Baltimore takes Lee Starks. That's just a Baltimore pick. I think that's just going to be a home run. Keaton in his mock draft has Starks going to the Rams at 26. Definitely a possibility. But definitely a possibility. But I like him there. And then Mike Green, like I said, I just think that if he gets this far in the draft, I think the Lions will just get together and say, hey, look, if he's not written off the board like several teams are, I don't know if Detroit's a team that's going to write him off or not. But I think at 28, I think you got to take a chance. So Lions fans, I'm dying to know what you think, because I had Donovan Ezekiel, something like that. But I just got a feeling that if Mike Green free falls this far, matter of fact, it wouldn't surprise me if Detroit traded up to 21 to get Mike Green. It wouldn't surprise me at all. So,
Pittsburgh,
yeah, the Saints. I could see the Saints making a move. Yeah, I called Sewell correctly. I really did. Mike Green makes a lot of sense for the Eagles. He does. What time am I starting tomorrow? Right at draft. I think I'm going to go a little early. I haven't made the 100%. I haven't made the call yet. But Denver Gator, I'll actually text you later on, and I'll let you know. But I'll have the stream set up tonight. But I think I'll go on a little early. I didn't know they met with Mike Green. I didn't know. I just think that if he starts free falling, if I'm the Detroit Lions, I'm looking at last year and I'm going, we gave up 31 points in the first half.
Yeah.
We need somebody. We need a game changer. This is a game changer. This could be a monumental move for the Lions. But I'll tell you what, Starks going to Baltimore, that could be awesome. Josh Simmons, if he's healthy and plays like he did the first half of the season where he was the best tackle in college football, that could be a home run for the Texans. Keaton, actually, before Keaton comments on my much better mock draft, I'm going to go over Keaton's picks. He has Tyler Booker, the 25 at Houston. Love it if he's available. Malachi Starks, 26 to the Rams. Love it again if he's available. Mike Green, 27 to Baltimore. Also love it if I love it if Starks. I like Starks more than I like Green in Baltimore, but I don't hate that. And then 28, Donovan Izuruku, and I'm butchering that name. I'm so sorry. I've had him going to Detroit for the longest time. I love him for Detroit, but if Mike Green is close, I think he's a much better player. So, Keaton, what are your thoughts on my mock draft?
Yeah, I mean, Josh Simmons too. I mean, just look what the Texans lost on the offensive line. I think it's a foregone conclusion they go with tackle. I would be absolutely surprised if it wasn't anything other than tackle at 25 for Texans. So Josh Simmons is a phenomenal fit. Just got to get healthy. Obviously, I think if he didn't have that injury, I think he could probably be the best available tackle in this draft. I mean, if you go back and watch, I mean, I don't know if you've seen this on CBS Sports. They've had some crazy like mock draft predictions. Like they actually had Josh Simmons go inside the top 10, which is crazy.
Well, I don't know if you remember this, but the guy you replaced was Paris Johnson. He went number 6 to Arizona, and I thought Simmons was better. I really did.
Yeah.
I really did. So yeah.
And then what was it? Malachi Starks to the ball. Yeah, I mean I think the scheme fit. I think he fits perfectly for what Baltimore wants. I think that's a Baltimore move. They could absolutely take him at 27. Then Mike Green to Detroit makes it. They need somebody on the defensive side of the ball who can just get to the quarterback. I mean, they just couldn't get the stops in that playoff game last year. I think it's very obvious they need to go Mike Green or they can go Donovan E, whichever who's available. Any one of those corners. They can even go Shamar Stewart if he ends up falling that far, which you never know. But any one of those.
I was thinking if Stewart falls that far, I could see Detroit going that route. One pride, I have them taking Mikael Williams, defensive end out of Georgia. Here's the deal with Atlanta. They're going to take an edge rusher. I mean, they need somebody to get after the quarterback. I took Mike Green off the board completely for the Falcons. I know after that Mike Vick situation, they were really, really adamant about not taking players with any off-field issues. I'm not saying they've never done it or they haven't done it since the Michael Vick issue. I just know Atlanta's a team that I was a betting man. I would say unless he's available like in round 4 or 5, which won't happen, that they're not going to draft Mike Green. If they do take Mike Green, I wouldn't blame them. I just know Atlanta's a team that is passing up players that have off-field issues.
Yeah.
I think Atlanta's one of those teams that is just not going to take them unless something goofy happens. And Mike Green's going in the first round. I just think he's going in the bottom half. And Detroit may be one of those teams that has him off the board. I just have a hunch that if he's available, I think that that's what happened. Yeah, I won pride. I think, and by the way, thanks for using SA. I have no idea what YouTube considers, that or not. But yeah, I really do. I think if there was no off-field issues, I think he'd go top 10. I really, really do. And I think Detroit just hits a home run here. I think I seriously, I think Mike Green will be a double-digit sack guy. I think he goes to Detroit. And I think if Aiden Hutchinson comes back healthy, then you're gonna have some fun.
Yeah.
You're gonna have some fun. All right, let's go with the final 4 picks in the draft here. Donovan E to Washington. So he's not really a pure defensive end. He's more of an outside linebacker. That's why I'm calling him an edge. They lost some edge rushers. I just kind of got a feeling that's just a player that they like, just a hunch. Walter Nolan, whoever Buffalo likes better out of Walter Nolan and Derek Harmon, I have Nolan rated higher. I think Buffalo would really just get a big hit here. I've been mocking Derek Harmon to my Chiefs for a long time. Chris Jones is entering year 12. They've lost a few defensive tackles in free agency, so I'm going to go with Derek Harmon to Kansas City. I really like that move. And Ted McMillan to the Eagles at 32. And a lot of people are going to say, wait a minute, Dan, they're loaded at wide receiver. Why do you want to get one? I know they're loaded at receiver, but this is a guy that's completely different than the other two guys. He's a jump ball type of guy. He doesn't have to be the main target. I think Ted McMillan, I kept looking at the mock draft, like where could Ted McMillan go? And I just never really found the place. I wanted to give him to Houston, but I think if Josh Simmons is available, they'll go Simmons over McMillan. If the medical is clear, AJ Brown, they may want to move in a few years. He's getting a lot of money. They got other receivers. The one thing about the Eagles is that they usually draft for the future, not for right now. I just have a hard time seeing Ted McMillan not go in round one. I'm not that high on him, but that's kind of my thought process. Do I think the Eagles go defend? Yeah. So here's the deal. If Walter Nolan or Derek Harmon is available, then I think the Eagles take one of those players. But the way this mock draft goes, Nolan and Harmon go 30 and 31. I think the Eagles go with best available player. And by the way, the Eagles, I think that you want – look, I'm not taking anything away from Jalen Hurts. I'm not taking anything away from him. Deserved MVP. He's a great guy. If I had a daughter, I'd want her to date somebody just like that. But he's not the guy that you want to go back 50 times a game and go ding, 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 ding. He's not the most accurate passer. I want a receiver with a big catch radius. That's what you got in Ted McMillan. So we really don't take – I don't think he's a head case, but I worry about the charge. I think it'll make him free fall. That's why I have him going so late. Yeah, the Lions could go defensive. There's a lot of good defensive tackles in this draft. The Eagles need a pass rusher. Not disagreeing with you at all. Keaton has Josh Connerly, the tackle of Oregon, to the Eagles at 32. I also could see that. I just think Ted McMillan, I kept on trying to find where he's going. I just put him at 32. I don't see him getting out of round one.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was having some issues. It wouldn't surprise me if they decide to move on from A.J. Brown because they gave a lot of money to the other receiver. I can't believe I forgot like 80 names. But A.J. Brown had some issues being hurt. I heard something along those lines. I think Ted McMillan makes a lot of sense to Philly. It really does. Look, nail the drafts is a good way to go. I'm taking my vacation so I can do the draft. So one pride. Enjoy yours. Do send me some pictures, man. Does A.J. Brown get traded possibly? I think it's possible.
I mean,
I really do. And here's the thing. I don't think it's this year. I think it's next year. Or maybe the year after. We can't move off A.J. Brown to 2028 realistically, but I love Ted. He's one of my favorite players. Here's the deal. I'm doing my mock draft, and before I started, my first couple of mock drafts, I had him going 12 to Dallas, and I think that's a good spot. So after I changed my mind and decided Dallas was going to go offensive line, I kept on saying, where's he going? And I just couldn't find a spot. He's too good. He's too good to pass up at 32. He's way too good to pass up at 32.
Yeah.
I almost went guard for Detroit, but when Mike Green is available, then I don't see how Detroit passes that up.
See.
By the way, that could happen. That easily could happen. But here's the deal with Ted McMillan. I can't see him falling in round 2, and I think the Eagles like drafting for the future, and I think the Eagles love the Eagles. Ever since I've been doing mock draft, I've been doing draft grades. I've given the Eagles either a B+, A- or an A the last 4 years. They've just nailed the draft, and this will be no exception. Keaton has for 29 Emeka Ibuku, wide receiver out of Ohio State, makes a lot of sense. Would not be at all surprised. I went with defensive player, but it wouldn't surprise me if they went wide receiver there. Nick Amarori to Buffalo at 30, which is definitely a possibility. I just don't think he drops that far. Josh Simmons, 31 to Kansas City. I almost mocked that. I don't think he falls that far. If he does, it wouldn't surprise. I think the Chiefs are going to go defensive tackle, not offensive tackle. But if Simmons is available at 31, I would not be surprised. And then Josh Connerly Jr., offensive tackle out of Oregon, which makes a lot of sense. I don't hate that pick at all. Keaton, what do you think of my final 4 picks?
Yeah, I mean, I thought they were solid, to be honest. I mean, Donovan E. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. I'm sorry. Just Donovan E. That's basically what I've been saying this whole.
I don't know why I didn't do that though.
Yeah. So Donovan E. Like I said, to the Commanders, I think that's a great fit. I mean, just look at that NFC Championship game last year. I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles absolutely just carved up that defense the entire game. Couldn't get any pass rush on Jalen Hurts that entire game. So, I mean, Donovan E. will come in there, just given what he did at Boston College. I think he can be a solid fit if he's available there at 29 for the Commanders. Walter Nolan to the Buffalo Bills, I think that makes a lot of sense as well. I mean, I think just given what he did at Ole Miss, I think the Bills need someone like that who can just get off the line with ease and get to the quarterback with ease as well. Walter Nolan, I think he, like I said, he's another player. I think he can either go late first round or he can surprisingly go up somewhere.
I think there's no way he should be available at 30. I love Walter Nolan.
Yeah.
And I like Walter Nolan and I like Derek Holm. You have him going 15 to Atlanta, and that's like if I was going to do a big board, I would put Walter Nolan somewhere in the teens, probably at 15. Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense that you have him going to Atlanta. And matter of fact, I almost flipped my pick. I just think Mikael Williams is more of a need than. But I seriously, if Atlanta goes Walter Nolan at 15, I'm like, that's a good pick. I wouldn't be surprised also if Nolan goes somewhere else. I could see him going to Pittsburgh. I could also see him going to the Rams. I really wanted to put him somewhere else besides 30. I really did.
Right.
I've been saying this. I think the Chiefs are going to go defensive tackle, not offensive tackle in round 1. I've been saying that for a long time.
Yeah.
And like I said, Ted McMillan, I can't see him going in round 2. I just can't see it. So Philly, just the rich get richer.
Right.
One Pride 40. Do make sure you go visit Denver Gator, who's promising you cocktails and hookers. So, Ted is really good. Reminds me of AJ Green with better hands. I seriously, Slasher. I was on a Lions show and they were telling me that they would not be mad at all if the Lions chose a wide receiver. And I looked at them like they were nuts, but they're all of them are like, yeah, we could use a wide receiver because we may be moving on from Jameson Williams. And I'm like,
I just don't see that. I don't see him doing
I don't know, but if you do move on from Jameson Williams, Ted McMillan makes a lot of sense in Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
It makes a lot of sense in Detroit. But I just the more so here's the drill: like Walter Nolan, Derek Harmon, and Ted McMillan. I think all 3 of these guys should go much sooner in the draft. And I'm kind of surprised I didn't have him off the board sooner, but that's just the way it is. No Jackson Dart. I know there was a lot of talk about him going to the Saints at 9, or I saw a mock draft where he's going 3 to New York. I like the guy. By the way, like he was going to go to Green Bay for the draft and then withdrew. I think there's a reason behind that. I think he's going to go in the second round. Lions do really well in the draft. The last couple of drafts, I've given them really, really good grades. I gave them, I think, a B+ last year. They traded up for Terrion Arnold, who could have gone maybe to Atlanta at 8. I thought he was definitely a top 10, 15 player, and you get him at 23. And then Enos Rakestraw is a guy. I wouldn't have blamed Detroit if they took him at 29 last year to get him at the bottom of the second. I thought that was genius. And then the rest of your picks, they had a lot of reaches and a lot of projects, and I didn't like it. But your first 2 picks were phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then, even though I thought they reached for Campbell and Jahmyr Gibbs, I still gave him B+ on that draft as well. But the Lions have been doing really, really good. Listen, teams that draft well do well.
Do well. Yep.
That's how it is. Over the last 4 years, I don't think anybody's drafted better than Philly, and it shows. Nobody wanted to see them beat the Chiefs. It was awful. It ruined everybody's Super Bowl. You had the worst halftime show of all time. By the way, that halftime show sucked. It was awful.
Honestly, it hasn't been good the past couple of years.
Who was it 2 years ago? Was it The Weeknd? And then they're wearing jock straps on their face for some reason. I didn't get it. But the last one I think I liked. I'll turn in my man card, but whatever. I liked the Katy Perry halftime show, or the One Shark's doing its own thing. I liked Lady Gaga. I think it was like 6 years ago or something. Like, that was not bad. But yeah, last couple halftime shows, they need to do something different. But
Derek Harmon to the Chiefs also would be nice. Like, I'm looking at, like, if he's available, like, you guys, honestly, the Chiefs defense was good this past year. Like, I think they can have one of the best defenses if they get him at 31, but we'll see.
Yeah, Derek Harmon's a guy I think that she goes sooner in 31. It wouldn't surprise me if he goes to Minnesota. I could see him going to Green Bay. I could also see him going. I could see him going to Denver, Pittsburgh. It just didn't work out, but there's always going to be guys that slide, and I seriously would not be surprised if Derek Harmon starts to fall if Kansas City makes a move. I would not be surprised at all. Slasher says, I think that when they have money, they have to pay Gibbs Hutch when the time comes. Should Hitch? Well, he's going to have to come back and be healthy, and if he is, he's going to get a lot of money. Gibbs is interesting because the last time they gave a lot of money was to his running mate, and he got hurt. And then it's like, look, we're giving. I think it's like $17.5 million to. I can't think of the guy's name, and I love his game. I absolutely love his game, and I can't think of the guy. The other running back in Detroit. I forgot like 15 names already. I'm bad on names. I'm bad. This is a life This is a life hack. Remember this. If you learn nothing else from me, learn this. Always call your girl baby, because don't call her the wrong name. Don't call her the wrong name. Keaton, how many times have you called your girl the wrong name?
Never.
Because you listen to me. That's why. Keep listening to me. This is why I give good life lessons.
That's what you needed. That's what you should do. Everybody should do that.
Yeah. Call her baby. Call her baby. Just remember that. Just remember, but that Kirby contract doesn't look good for him to re-sign. It's going to be. Listen, next year, it's going to be interesting. The Lions are in 2026. The Lions have some really, really weird cap issues, and it's going to come around. Could your Chiefs trading out of the first round? Absolutely, absolutely. I'll tell you this right now. If they offered Greg Newsome, I would be over the moon. Greg Newsome would look great in a Chiefs uniform. He would look great in a Chiefs uniform. And I do think there is a definite possibility because I think the Chiefs want to draft a corner and I think they want to draft a running back. But I thought about corner here at 31. There's nobody I really feel comfortable at 31. But Harmon is a guy that should be gone in the 20s. I want him. So 31, yeah. If the Browns offer Greg Newsome, like I'm doing cartwheels, it's going to be great. Nolan reminds me of Simmons. Seriously, it kind of pains me to get Buffalo such a good player. It really does. But yeah, they really do. It would make sense too if the Lions want to get extra capital, a 24-year-old wide receiver coming off a 1,000-yard season, you can get a late second. Seriously, in this draft that's so wide receiver deficient, it would make good sense for Detroit to move on, especially let's say they draft Ted McMillan. Right, which would be a nice fit, and then they move on from Jameson Williams and get a late second, early third. That's kind of a win-win. Maybe a team like Buffalo wants to trade a second or a third. So yeah. I mean, I would think third more than second, but yeah, I could see that. And the halftime show was awful. Yeah. The 2022 draft, God, I'm trying to remember what was the Lions 2022 draft. I really didn't like it. Let me see here. No. I liked it. Let me see here. Let me see if I remember right. Okay, I'm not doing it off memory. I'm looking it up. No, I liked it. It's just I thought Williams. You know what? One pride. No, you're wrong. I didn't like it because I thought Williams was a mistake. They went from 32 to 12, but they got some really, really good value out of that trade because normally when you trade up 20 spots, you have to trade away a lot more. But for some reason, the Vikings. By the way, the player the Vikings got's no longer with them. Pascal, I thought was a massive reach, but I liked Kirby Joseph. Malcolm Rodriguez, I liked, but I thought he was a special teams guy. Ended up starting for you guys that year, if I remember right. Is that correct? Didn't he start for you guys? Houston ended up being wildly productive, and nothing happened with James Mitchell. But yeah, I really didn't like that draft. You're right. I was lying.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 80s rock would be great. J-Lo and Shakira. I kind of forgot about that one. I heard afterwards Jennifer Lopez said she was embarrassed to be on the same stage. I don't know if that was true or not. I know Motley Crue did like the NFL draft, and I felt really bad for those guys. Like they looked old. They looked really I remember Vince Neil didn't even move, and he had like sweat dropping. Like, oh God, yeah. I'm not sure what they need to do, but yeah, I know Keaton is sitting there praying we traded. AJ Brown would look good in the Patriots. I really do. Monty, AK Knuckles, Gibbs is Sonic. Yeah, Sonic and Knuckles. Yeah. But yeah, you gave that's it, David Montgomery. Okay, you gave him all that money, then he got hurt. So I could see them being cautious about Gibbs. But I think the Browns could trade up to, believe it or not, I think the Browns and Steelers could make a trade It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me, even though they're divisional rivals. I think Minnesota's another spot. I could also see Atlanta at 15. And if you're the Browns and you trade up to 15, you got to give up a lot. You got to give up a lot. But yeah, the Browns, listen, when I made this trade, 21 and 26, there's going to be about 4 trades in the first round. I think there's going to be 4. And I'm giving you 2 of them, but I do think there's going to be some. I would not be at all surprised if the Browns say, hey, we're going to get Shadir Sanders. We're going to get Travis Hunter. We're going to just market the hell out of this. We're going to just market the hell out of this and make it work. It wouldn't surprise me at all. Would not surprise me at all. I'm giving you a couple spots where they could trade up at. But, it wouldn't surprise me. Would not surprise me at all, Jeff. And if you're a Browns fan, you got to love it. Yeah. I see Monroe to Cleveland, maybe trade up to 32. Yeah, that's another good option. Jalen Monroe, he would fit in that offense. Here's the deal. Okay, so then let me back up to Cleveland's offense. Greg Stefanski, he wants a run-first offense with a lot of bootleg and easy completions. He's a very quarterback-friendly coach, but he wants a mobile quarterback. Kenny Pickett fits what he wants to a T. But there's a reason why he was drafted in 2023, and he's on team number 3. There's something there. I mean, let's just be honest. But yeah, I mean, if you're on your third team in 3 years, there's an issue.
That's crazy. 3 years.
Yeah, exactly. So the offensive line was a disaster last year in Cleveland. They fixed that. Who knows what they want to do? But Milroe's not the type of guy that is a high completion percentage type of quarterback. I don't know if he fits in Cleveland, but I think Cleveland could get very creative in this draft.
Yeah.
I don't think Milroe's the guy, but you never know. Some players you don't expect to fall will fall. Keaton has James Pierce at okay, you have him at 16. Okay. He's had Pierce in the late 20s, and I've seen a lot of mock drafts where Pierce goes to Baltimore, Detroit, Washington, Buffalo, Kansas City. I think he goes in the top 15, but he's a guy that could go lower. I have Kelvin. Me and Keaton both have Kelvin Banks going high, but there's been a lot of mock drafts where he goes all the way down to Houston at 25. This is going to be a very interesting draft because players 10 through 40 are completely different for all 32 teams. And it's going to be a fun draft because after the first 6-7 picks, after pick number 8, if Carolina doesn't trade, that's where the draft gets really interesting because if the Saints don't go quarterback, who knows? They could go in any different direction. So that it's going to be a fun draft. After Carolina at 8, like anything goes. Like nobody knows what's going on.
Yeah. I think the draft.
Both of you sent to the Broncos. Keaton is wrong and says Marion Hampton. I said Matthew Golden, the wide receiver out of Texas, and the reason why I got Golden is I just have him as my wide receiver number 1. But this is, in my opinion, is a very weak receiver draft. I like Luther Burden out of Missouri. Really, 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 really good player. Really, really, really good player. But yeah, I got 3 hits. Hey Dan, were you excited for your favorite astronaut? Kate? That was the dumbest thing. Jesus Christ. God, you know, when she was singing goofy songs, she was great, but then she wanted to get political, and now she's an astronaut for. Why are you doing this to me, Denver Gator? Why? Why don't you pick on Keaton? Oh, Jesus. God, I love Denver Gator. I really didn't like our 22 draft class, to be honest. I still didn't like Jordan Davis over Kyle Hamilton, but whatever. Slasher, I'll take him. No. Golden is a beast, 100%. Nick needs a weapon outside of Sutton. Yeah, and Troy Franklin was the name I was thinking of. It was his Oregon teammate. And it was funny because I thought he was going to run like a 4.29. I remember he ran a 4.49, and that alone made his draft stock just plummet all the way to round 4. But he started playing a little bit last year, not too much. But yeah, I think Golden would be a nice addition, and I think they are going to move on from Sutton. So we'll find out. But yeah, that's kind of what I see. Kenny Pickett has a lot of upside, and actually it doesn't seem like it with the numbers. He has a low turnover. I seriously, the only problem I have with Pickett is that there's a reason why he's on 3 teams in 3 years. But for what Cleveland wants to do offensively, Kenny Pickett fits that to a T. I mean, he's mobile, he's accurate. They don't really want to go downfield. They like the dink and dunk, but I would not be at all surprised if they take Travis Hunter and then say, hey, look, let's make a move and make it, because I do think Shadir Sanders is going to fall in this draft. He's going to fall. No, go ahead. I'm sorry, I've been ranting.
Oh no, I'm saying that's the only way he goes early, unless the Saints take him at 9 if they're that desperate for a quarterback. But yeah, I don't see him falling. I don't see him going that high though.
By the way, One Pride, this is exactly what I think the Lions will do. I think that they'll draft a guard or a defensive tackle in rounds 2 or 3. I don't know which one. And you're right, they're going to be really dangerous. Detroit, I think, is going to go into this draft and say, hey, look, let's get an impact player in round 1, get a guard and a defensive tackle later on in the draft to fill some holes. And they're a Super Bowl contender. They're a legit Super Bowl contender. But that NFC North is brutal, man. The Vikings are doing some really good things.
I got Ben Johnson now.
Yeah, you got to deal with Ben Johnson in Chicago. And then, Green Bay, I mean, they're young, they're talented. We'll have to wait and see. But that NFC North is just brutal. Absolutely brutal. Denver Gator, Colson Loveland, if available. I would, okay, so they signed Evan Ingram. So once they signed Evan Ingram, I ruled tight end completely off the table in round 1, but it wouldn't surprise me if Denver gets a tight end later on in the draft. Keaton, what do you think, man?
What, the Colson Loveland to
Denver?
To Denver. I mean, if he falls that far, I think, like I said, he would be a phenomenal fit for that Broncos offense. You guys just put someone, add more talent to Bo Nix going into his important second season. I just think you got to continue to build off of what he did in his first year. I mean, I think the Broncos defense is pretty good. It's pretty good. I think if they can just get more consistency on offense, I mean, they could be a dangerous team next year. I'm not saying that they're going to win the division. I still think the Chiefs own that division, but I think the Broncos can definitely cause some issues if they can just continue to give some offensive weapons to Bo Nix.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm more scared of Denver than I am of the Chargers. I really am. I think Denver's a more dangerous team than the Chargers. But I think both teams are improving quite a bit. And by the way, Darius Alexander would be a great pick. He's defensive tackle out of Toledo. Because he's a small school prospect, he's not going to go in round 1. But if he went to an SEC school, he would probably go in round 1. But yeah, that would be a great pickup for the Lions.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. People Exactly. He went in round 1 for a reason. Everybody had him as a first-round pick.
No.
So him being the starting quarterback for Cleveland, that wouldn't surprise me at all. I think they should do that, but I think that there's a good chance that they're going to move up in round 1 and try to get Shadir Sanders. I think Cleveland's one of those teams. I think the Saints are one of those teams. I think the Giants are one of those teams. And then there's also a possibility that there is a team like maybe Pittsburgh or even the Rams. It's going to be a fun draft because after the Saints pick at 9, if Shadir Sanders is available, who's going to take him? Or does he go all the way into round 2? It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a great draft. And Jeff, I hope you're around tomorrow for it. I think Steelers are just desperate that year and wanted anything. That's possible. That is possible. But I have to think since he was in their own backyard, they did a lot of work. But they gave up on him fast. I have to think that there was something going on in the locker room that made him want to move on. But they moved on from him really fast.
That's because he wanted to be the starting QB, and they didn't give it to him. That's why.
Yeah, Sam Darnold. Yeah, you never say never. You never say never. I don't know how he's going to do in Seattle because I think Seattle's a troubling team. But this is an important draft. They have a lot of draft capital, so we'll see what they do.
Right.
Yeah, it was a young offense. They had that bad offensive coordinator and everything. So, yeah. How can I pick on Keaton? His boys won the championship, and last time the Gators won the national championship, Gators also won football, just saying. Hey, listen, I've been hearing some great things about this freshman receiver. You got that young quarterback.
Yeah.
There's some good things there. I would, Denver Gator. I kind of here's the deal. Keaton's on the East Coast. He's got a date lined up with like triplets, so I don't want to keep him on too long. I got off all this week, so I'm excited. It's only 5 here in Vegas, so I would love to talk about Florida and college football, but I didn't get a chance to watch any college basketball this year. But congratulations! I forgot you. I forgot to wish you congratulations for that. So I'm doing it now.
Nice.
Do you think Saints should run back with Spencer Rattler? I think they should. I think Derek Carr is going to be fine. I know the reports are that he may miss the season. I'm not buying that. I think quarterback, the Saints should just stick with what they have and just try to build their team up, which really needs an overhaul on the offensive line and the defensive front seven. If I'm the Saints, I would build the team around Rattler and Derek Carr. That's what I would do. When tomorrow comes, are the Saints going to pick a quarterback? We'll wait and see. But Jackson Dart would make the most sense because take a look at the quarterbacks that this is like the 18th name I forgot. That their head coach worked with. So he worked with Justin Herbert in LA. He's like a tight end who can move. All right. He was in Dallas, Dak Prescott, a big quarterback who played his best when he was running. And then, Jalen Hurts in Philly. Well, who fits that mold? Well, Jackson Dart fits that mold more than the other quarter, or Jalen Milroe fits that mold, not Shadir Sanders. But if I'm the Saints, I would stick with Rattler and Derek Carr, but I don't know. Keaton, what are your thoughts, man?
Like I said, I think they should stick with him as well. Derek Carr. Is it really true? So is he not going to miss the entire? Is that report not true?
I don't think it is, but nobody really knows. It was a rumor that he's not progressing as well and may miss the whole season. Look, I'm just telling you, when he was at the Raiders, he got the crap beat out of him, and I don't remember him ever missing a snap. He missed some games this year, but I mean, I liked what I saw of Spencer Rattler, to tell you the truth. So if I'm the Saints, I don't take a quarterback, but they could. So
They could, yeah.
Yeah.
Except that defense should be good. You're right.
Yeah, Nick Bonito is legitimate. I like the Denver defense. I'm telling you right now that the Denver Broncos, I think, are a much bigger threat than the Chargers. But I like what both teams are doing. So we'll have to wait and see. Colson was the first choice before the Ingram trade. Take top wide receiver or running back. Yeah, I mean, they have some extra draft picks in this draft. I mean, they got a lot of things they got to do. I would personally try to build up the team and see if Spencer Rattler's legit. You have some quarterbacks in next year's draft. You have some guys next year you can go after. So that's what I would do. But yeah, it was awesome. I should have texted about that. Slasher asked Dan, what do you think about Pacheco? He kind of looked slow coming back from the injury. He did. I think he pressed coming back because of how good Kareem Hunt was doing. And the offense definitely looked better with Hunt. The Chiefs are playing hardball with Pacheco. They brought in Keaton Mitchell, who sat out last year, but he's kind of a speed guy. I'm telling you this right now, the Chiefs are probably going to draft one running back. And it wouldn't surprise me if they draft two, like one in the first 3 rounds and then one like in round 6 or 7. But the Chiefs don't want to give Pacheco a long-term deal. He's too injury prone, and he wasn't the same guy. He did. The offense looked so much better with Kareem Hunt. And they also brought Kareem Hunt back on a 1-year deal, but I'll be honest with you, I don't think either one of these guys are the long-term solution. We didn't talk about this, but Trayvon Henderson. Keaton, what school did he go to?
Wait, who?
Trayvon Henderson.
Oh, Ohio State.
Yeah.
Ohio State.
I think he would be a great fit in Kansas City. I think he'd be a fit.
You mocked him, or didn't you mock him to the Chiefs? Like mocked him.
When me and you went live, I mocked him. Yeah. And it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all. I really, really like Henderson a lot. I'm kind of hoping. Seriously, at 31, if the Chiefs take Henderson, I would be very happy. I would be very happy.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, he's not. He wasn't the same guy. Yeah, one pride. It would not surprise me at all if this happens. It would not surprise me at all. Yeah, I think so too, Jeff. I thought Rattler looked pretty good. If I'm the Saints, I don't mess around with a quarterback. I really don't. I can see Dart going to the Rams. I can too. Dart makes more sense than Sanders to the Rams, but I just can't see Sanders getting out of round 1. I just can't see it. So.
Yeah, we'll see.
Keaton says, I see the Giants trading back up late for the first round for Dart. I think so too. I think Sanders or Dart. The Giants will take a quarterback in this draft. The only question is when and where. And
yeah,
like I said, the magic number for me is 4, and I'll keep repeating this. I'm going to say this tomorrow. There's going to be about 4 trades in round 1. The question is who's going to go where. But the Giants could be one of these teams, especially if these quarterbacks start to free fall. The Giants could definitely be one of these teams. So, how do you guys think the Packers should address the draft? Keaton had Jahlil Barron, the corner out of Texas, and if he's available at 23, I could see Green Bay taking him easily. Yeah. That would be a great pick for Green Bay. I think he's going to go before then, but I can see that. Andre, I really struggled with Green Bay because they don't like taking wide receivers in the first round, and I don't think they will. I could look at every single layer on defense and say you could take a guy here. The kid out of UCLA, Sessinger, I could see him going to Green Bay at 23. I could see them going defensive tackle. I can see them going corner. I went offensive line because Love missed 6 games last year?
Yeah, about half the season.
Yeah. And the offensive line wasn't that good. Why not take the best available offensive lineman? They need some interior help. That's kind of the guy Zabel's versatile, so that's kind of what way I see it. The Packers could go in several different directions. So, but yeah, you can go. Yeah, so Andre, my second mock draft, I had them taking Will Johnson. And it wouldn't surprise me. I'm drawing a blank here. Where did I have Will Johnson going?
Didn't you have him going like Seattle?
Yeah, I had him going to Seattle. Yeah, but if he gets past Seattle, I wouldn't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised at all. One player I think is going to fall hard is Deion Walker and Tyleik Williams. I want to talk about Deontay. By the way, thank you for bringing up Deion. I'm going to butcher his name. I'll just call him D. Walker. For those of you who don't know, 6'7", about 350, defensive tackle out of Kentucky. Looked better last year than this year. I have a major man crush on him, One Pride, because I would love for him to be the Chiefs' nose tackle. Chris Jones likes playing defensive end, and you put him at defensive end, and you have Karlaftis or Amani, who both are bigger defensive ends, and then you have 2-3 down linebackers behind you. And you can stuff the run in dime packages. And that's something I've been dreaming about. I've seen a lot of mock drafts where he goes late in the third. He's a guy that I want in Kansas City. And Tyleik Williams, I've seen a lot of mock drafts where he's going to Kansas City at 31. I wouldn't hate that. I just think it's a little too high for him. I would be much happier if the Chiefs traded up in round 2 and got Williams. But Walker is a guy I have a major man crush on. Can he keep his weight? You've heard me say the NFL 20. Walker needs to put on the NFL 20 by losing 20 pounds. Whatever he weighs right now, I'd like to see him come into training camp 20 pounds less. I heard he was a phenomenal basketball player.
Oh, yeah.
I heard he was a phenomenal basketball player, yeah. But he's a guy that I really would – whoever drafts him, I would tell him, it's like, look, whatever you weigh, lose about 25 pounds before you come to training camp, because he's a guy, if he keeps his weight down, he can be an absolute monster. I'm kind of hoping he goes to Kansas City Kansas City has 2 picks in the 3rd round. They have Tennessee's 3rd round pick. It's pick 66. Not that one, but the other one. I would be very happy if they got Walker there. So,
right.
All right. I'm losing my voice. I did a show before I came on today, and it was a great show. Royal Lions UK, follow them if you don't already. They were nice enough to have me on before I did my own show. I didn't realize that. I got some cough drops here. I thought about sucking on them, but I'm losing my voice. Not used to doing several hours of YouTube, so it is such a treat. Thank you for joining, and don't forget to come on tomorrow. I'll be live for the entire first round of the NFL draft. It's unknown if Keaton, are you joining me? I have not even asked you yet. I'm going to ask you live.
I'm going to join. I'm going to probably do like multiple things. I'm probably going to join you, and then I might try to do like a little live stream as well. Because
if you go live and then I understand, do your live show, that would be great. If you change your mind and you want to come on for a little bit or for a lot,
right,
feel free to pop in. I didn't even ask, but I got Gooch who said he would come on. So I'm going to be live for the next 2 days. Let me know what you want. I'll send you the stream out.
Absolutely.
So if you decide you want to come on, do it. If you do something on your own, I get it. I'm asking you live, so I'm putting some pressure on you.
Don't worry.
I'm a dick. I mean, let's face it.
That'd be
Keaton
good.
calls me a dick all the time. He's very mean to me. So that by the way is not true at all. But when if the Cowboys goes Sanders and trades Dak Prescott, could that be a possibility? Because of the cap, it's not, unless some team wants to pick up a large part of the contract. Because of the salary cap, no. But I would love it. Oh God, that would be so much fun.
The real question should be for the Cowboys, like who's more likely to be traded, Dak Prescott or Micah Parsons?
Seriously, if I, let me ask you this here. I have no idea who the Cowboys would want at 8, or maybe they would draft Jalen Walker. But if you're Carolina, would you want to go ahead and trade pick number 8 for Micah Parsons?
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
You need some help. You got money.
That could be a possibility, but I don't know. Again, Dallas is pretty confusing. I mean, I don't know what they're planning on doing. They're going to pay him all that money. I mean, you're also paying Dak Prescott a lot of money, so it's like I don't know. Gave
CeeDee Lamb a lot of money. I mean, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. And what they're going to do at 12 is going to be interesting. So I didn't have a chance to do this before I came on, but Dallas is one of the teams that I think there's a lot of teams that want to trade down. I really do. Dallas wants to trade down. I think the Jets want to trade down. I think the Raiders want to trade down. I think your Patriots want to get out of 4. I really do. I think that they're going to stay stuck. I think that they're hoping somebody takes a quarterback between Cleveland and New York at 2 or 3. And then they can get one of the, they can get Carter or Travis Hunter, but they're not going to. But I think Jacksonville would look seriously. Picks 4 through 9, I think all want to trade down. I really believe that. I think Chicago is who's going to say, and Chicago may want to trade down, but I think Chicago is one of those teams that's going to just stick and pick at 10. San Francisco, I think that they're going to be creative round 2. Because they have an extra 3rd and a 4th. But I think at 11, if they can't trade down, and do they want to trade down? I mean, they already have a ton of draft picks.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of teams that are going to want to trade down. It's going to be interesting. But I would love it, Jeff. I would love it. I seriously I would love it. It's just with salary cap makes it almost impossible. So, but that's all I got. I'm losing my voice, so I'm going to wrap it up. But I will be live tomorrow. Keaton from Keaton Talks Sports may be there. Gooch from the Back Talk Brothers. He said he was going to be there, but he disappeared from the chat. So I haven't talked to him in a while. He may or may not be there. I will 105% be there. I have a lot of cough drops I may have to suck on, but anyway, that's all I have. Keaton, before I let you go, man, final thoughts, or questions, comments, anything, the floor is yours.
Yeah, as always, thanks for having me on. It's always a blast coming on your show and talking some ball. So tomorrow is it. He said it's finally here. All these mock drafts we've been making, it's all speculation. Now we get to finally figure out who's going where, and we'll see some crazy trades, I assume, in the first rounds. We'll see some crazy players going to teams that we didn't think that were going there. So we'll see what happens, but I'm just excited for tomorrow night. It's going to be a blast.
Oh, I am too. It's going to be a great time. So that's all I have. So, hey, everybody, thanks for joining me, and I hope everybody comes back tomorrow.
Peace.